Hi, this is a little video about upcycling and some of the projects I've been doing, and they're all based around dealing with school shirts. Now, when a child is small and grows rapidly, the kind of much school uniform can be bought or passed on second hand so that you can keep things in circulation. The problems begin when they stop growing but are still wearing school uniform, because slightly damaged school uniform soon becomes unwearable. Some schools won't even tolerate it. And shirts in particular have a nasty habit of going on the cuffs and the collars and across the back of the shoulders, becoming unwearable, but leaving a great deal of actually perfectly good material behind. Now, charity shops can recycle fabric, but at the same time there's an awful lot of material to just be kind of taking away and getting rid of. So over the years I have collected dead school shirts and harvested them for parts, and I have made a number of things, so I thought I would talk about those today and a bit of what I've done. So my first school shirt project was this skirt, which is I mostly wear for steampunk stuff. It's very tattery, it's a bit pixie-ish, it's rather fun. The advantage of making something like this is you can see the pieces are quite uneven. I've gone with the shapes of what I could remove easily from the shirt. I've just harvested what I could take, cut it slightly more interesting where I could, but it allowed me to sort of work with the leftovers without having to be too uptight about it. And I like clothing that's got that kind of tattery, pixie-ish, chaotic quality to it, so that's all good fun. So that was project number one. Here's a shirt that I'm still working on. I think I'm going to get in and do more embroidery on it. I'd like to embroider onto it with white thread. I think that would be quite interesting, but I replaced the dead collar with much prettier broderie anglais. I cut the sleeves off so they're 3/4 length, and again there's broderie anglais on the end of the sleeves. I'm bigger about the chest than the boy, so I put little diamond patches in under the armpit, which sort of opens the chest up. It wasn't too technically difficult. And I used fabric from a different shirt to simply replace the bit across the back there, which was worn and not in a very good state. And I used the material I was throwing away effectively as a pattern to cut the new bit, so it all sort of fitted together quite neatly. That's been quite entertaining to do, and as I said, I'm not finished with that one. This one's a proper Frankenstein job. The blue on it, let's get it the right way around. The blue on it came from a shirt of mine that went under the armpit. So I cut it. I've still got the body of the shirt as a sort of a strappy top thing, and I put the sleeves onto here. So I've got this sort of amusing and very self-announcing garment that is clearly a Frankenstein upcycled job. Once again, the lacy collar, because, you know, steampunk events, it's nice to have a bit of lace on the collar. They work well. They go well over waistcoats, these as well, or over with a corset over the top. I've done both. You can also see I've embroidered the seams, because trying to make something like this look like it wasn't Frankenstein out of dead bits of clothing is, I think, both impossible and pointless. And I actually want this to be self-announcing. I want people to look at it and go, hang on, you've done a thing, because I want other people to think, well, maybe I could do a thing, maybe that would be okay, that would be fun. So I swapped the buttons, because white school shirt buttons are no great joy, so I took them off and I replaced them with silly ones from my button stash. The one thing I will say about taking buttons off is it's very difficult to get a machine sewed button off without ending up with a hole in the material, so you end up having to sort of darn a bit, and you do get some wrinkles. You won't get a pristine button run that way, but it's still more fun. I like it better than what was there before. A little bit of embroidery on the pocket, because I can, and on the back where there were a couple of marks, there are now a couple of little embroidered flowers. And this is something I'm going to continue with, because white shirts are a nightmare for picking up little marks that you then can't get out, particularly not if, like me, you're a hand washer and you don't do everything at 90 degrees with a large quantity of chemicals. So if I get marks that I can't shift, I'm going to take them as an opportunity to embroider over, and that'll be fun and entertaining, and will keep the garment alive and progressing, which I'm quite into as a thought form. One of the things I've been looking at recently is the Japanese boro tradition. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, Boro, which is all about keeping garments in use and patching them and embroidering them and repairing them as an ongoing process, and you get this kind of beautiful evolution of something that becomes far more than I think you can get by making something as a one-shot deal. So I'm very excited by that. My final school shirt project, I really got into the offcuts with this one. And what I did was I extracted material from the dead shirts as squares, and then I constructed from it. So I've got small squares down at the ankle here. It's a bit of a slightly a harem pants feel at the bottom. And bigger squares up at the top using larger pieces of material. As you can see, this is not white like a school shirt because I got a bit carried away and dyed it. I cannot, with the best will in the world, wear white trousers. Their life expectancy would not be great, whereas a green pair of trousers does not show the stains, and you know how it goes, druid issues. So, ridiculous trousers made out of dead shirts. I'm rather pleased with that as a process. This works for me in a number of ways. Obviously, I've got a whole bunch of garments there that didn't cost me anything except my time, which was in itself actually a plus, because I like crafting, I like making things, so there's hours and hours of entertainment for me in there that also didn't cost anything. And I have items of clothing that are not like anything anybody else has, and I really enjoy clothes. I enjoy the freedom to play with them and to express myself through clothing. And part of that is not wanting to look like everyone else around me, or to look like I bought all of my clothes from one supermarket, or to otherwise be a bit sort of one size fits all. So this really fulfills my need to have an interesting and changing and evolving wardrobe without actually having any particular implications for the planet at all. There's a great deal of stuff there that has not gone to landfill, has not had any kind of processing done to it in an environmentally expensive way in order to stay viable. I'm a hand sewer, so it's just me and the thread and the needle quietly pottering along, sewing the hems, making the constructions. It's a very, very low carbon activity, and it's fun, and I've got all these ridiculous things to wear. So I hope this encourages you to have a go, and let me add that if you're starting with something that would otherwise perhaps be going in the bin, and you get it wrong, nobody is any worse off. It's safe to experiment. It does no harm to experiment. You can still take it to the charity shop and get them to recycle it if you cut it badly or it looks stupid at the end. So it's a very permissive process, and you can have a laugh with it. And I heartily recommend that you do. Thank you for watching.